I fired my own daughter from a job she didn't even know was mine. Yeah, you heard that right. I stood there, in a torn jacket, unshaven, smelling like the streets, and I watched my little girl look right through me. Like I was nobody. Like I was nothing. And that's the day I found out the truth about the people I trusted with my empire. Stick with me. Because this story, it's not just about money. It's about what money does to people. And what it almost did to my own family. My name doesn't matter right now. Let's just say, I built something big. Real big. I started with nothing. I mean nothing. My father drove a delivery truck. My mother cleaned houses on the weekend just so we could have a little extra for groceries. I remember one winter, we didn't have heat for 11 days. 11 days. I used to do my homework wearing gloves. You might be wondering how someone goes from that to owning a company with thousands of employees, offices in a dozen cities, a name people recognize. Honestly, I still ask myself that sometimes. I worked. That's the short answer. I worked when I was sick. I worked when I was heartbroken. I worked through 2 business failures that almost broke me completely. I slept in my car for 4 months in my 20s because I couldn't afford both rent and inventory for my first small business. But I made it. Slowly. Painfully. But I made it. And by the time I turned 45, I had built something people called an empire. Funny word, right? Empire. It sounds so clean. So powerful. Nobody tells you what it actually feels like on the inside. Here's what nobody tells you: the richer I got, the lonelier I got. I'd walk into a room and watch people change. Their voices got softer. Their laughs got bigger. Everyone agreed with everything I said. Everyone. And somewhere in there, I stopped knowing who actually liked me, and who just liked what I could give them. That question ate at me for years. Quietly. Like a splinter you forget about until you press on it. Now let me tell you about my daughter. Her name is Amelia. She's 24. Smart. Stubborn. Kind, genuinely kind, the kind of kind you can't fake. She didn't grow up rich, not really. I made that promise to myself early on. No private jets for her. No handing her a corner office. I wanted her to know what it felt like to earn something. So when she graduated college, she didn't come work for Dad's company. She applied for a job at one of my companies, a mid-sized branch, under a fake resume, using her mother's maiden name. I didn't even know she'd done it until months later. She wanted to prove she could do it on her own. And honestly, I respected that more than anything. But here's where things get complicated. I'd been hearing whispers, rumors, that some of the people closest to me, people I trusted with real power, real decisions, weren't exactly who they pretended to be. That behind my back, some of my top executives treated employees like garbage. That kindness, at my own company, had become a performance people only put on when I was in the room. I couldn't shake the feeling. It sat in my chest like a stone. So I decided to do something reckless. Something my lawyers would have told me not to do if they'd known. I decided to disappear. I told my closest assistant, the only person who knew the truth, that I was traveling for 2 months. Business trip, I said. Overseas deals. Don't contact me unless it's an emergency. Then I did something that scared me more than any business deal I'd ever made. I stopped shaving. I let my hair grow out messy. I bought second-hand clothes from a thrift shop, a stained jacket, worn-out boots, jeans with a tear at the knee. I took off my watch, the one worth more than some people's houses. I left my rings at home. I even scraped my hands on gravel a little, just so they'd look rough, like someone who'd been through hard labor. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. And then I walked into my own company. Not through the front doors. Through the side entrance, where deliveries come in. I told the guard I was there applying for a warehouse position. He barely looked at me. You want to know something painful? Nobody recognized me. Not one person. Not even people I'd shaken hands with 100 times at company events. I got hired, under a different name, doing manual labor in one of my own warehouses. Loading boxes. Cleaning floors. 12-hour shifts. My back hurt in places I didn't know could hurt. My hands blistered within the first week. I never thought I'd say this, but doing that kind of work humbled me in a way that sitting behind a desk for 20 years never had. And that's when I started seeing things. Real things. Things I never saw from my glass office on the 40th floor. I saw a manager scream at a young mother because she was 2 minutes late picking up her kid from daycare and had to leave early. I saw employees skip lunch breaks because they were scared they'd be marked as not dedicated enough. I saw good, hardworking people treated like numbers. Like they were disposable. And then, and this is the part that still makes my chest tight when I think about it, I saw my own daughter. Amelia was working there. 2 floors above the warehouse, in the customer service department, under her fake name. She didn't recognize me either. Why would she? I looked like a stranger. A tired, broken-down stranger. One day, during a break, I sat near the cafeteria, exhausted, hungry, honestly a little embarrassed about how rundown I looked. And Amelia walked by with her coworkers. I watched her laugh at something. I watched her be kind to a janitor, offering him half her sandwich. My heart swelled with pride, just watching her from a distance. But then something happened that broke me. A senior manager, someone I had personally promoted 3 years earlier, someone I trusted, walked past me and told me, and I quote, "We don't allow homeless-looking people loitering near the cafeteria. Get back to your station or get out." Homeless-looking. That's what he called me. In my own building. Built with my own hands, my own sweat, my own sleepless nights. And Amelia was standing right there. She didn't defend me. She didn't even really look at me. She just kind of glanced away, uncomfortable, and kept walking with her friends. I want to be honest with you here, because this story only matters if I'm honest. That moment hurt more than any business failure I'd ever had. More than losing money. More than being scammed by a business partner years ago. Because this wasn't about money. This was about watching my own daughter, a young woman I raised to be kind, walk past someone who looked like they were struggling, and do nothing. I went home that night. Well, home was a small rented room I'd taken near the warehouse, to keep the disguise real, and I sat on the edge of that thin, creaky bed, and I cried. I actually cried. A grown man, a billionaire, crying in a rented room because his daughter didn't recognize kindness needed to happen right in front of her. I started questioning everything. Did I raise her wrong? Did giving her comfort, even limited comfort, somehow numb her to real struggle? Did the environment of my company, the one I built, turn good people cold? For the next few weeks, things got harder. I kept working the warehouse job. My supervisor, the same manager who called me homeless looking, started targeting me. He'd give me the worst shifts. He'd criticize my work in front of others just to feel powerful. He docked my pay once for being 4 minutes late, even though the delivery truck itself was late. I remember one night, lifting boxes at 2 a.m., my hands shaking from exhaustion, thinking, is this what my employees deal with every single day? While I'm signing off on quarterly reports in an air-conditioned office? I felt sick. Genuinely sick. But then, something happened that changed everything. There was one employee. Her name was Rosa. Older woman, maybe late 50s, worked in the same warehouse. Quiet. Never complained. Always the first one there, last one to leave. One afternoon I collapsed. Genuinely collapsed. Dehydration, exhaustion, maybe a bit of heat stroke from the poorly ventilated loading dock. I hit the floor hard. Most people just stared. A couple laughed, thinking I was faking it to get out of work. That still stings when I think about it. But Rosa ran over. She didn't know me. She didn't know I was worth billions. To her, I was just a tired, broken-down man who looked like he hadn't eaten properly in days. She gave me water. She gave me half of her lunch, a simple sandwich, wrapped in foil, the kind of lunch someone packs when they're being careful with money. She sat with me until I felt steady enough to stand. And she said something I will never forget as long as I live. She said, "Nobody should go through a hard day alone. I don't have much, but I have this. Take it. I don't have much, but I have this. Take it." You want to talk about being humbled? That sentence humbled me more than any board meeting, any award, any magazine cover ever could. Here was a woman making barely enough to survive, sharing what little she had with a stranger. No cameras. No reward. No expectation of anything back. That was the turning point. Right there, sitting on a concrete floor with a sandwich in my shaking hands. I realized something painful but true. Somewhere along the way, in building this empire, I had created an environment where people like that manager thrived, cold, status-obsessed, cruel to anyone who couldn't help their career. And people like Rosa, the genuinely good ones, were invisible, overlooked, underpaid, unnoticed. And worse, my own daughter had absorbed some of that coldness, even without realizing it. Not because she was a bad person. She's not. But because the environment taught her, without her even noticing, that people who look successful matter more than people who don't. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to just quietly go back to my old life and write a bigger check to charity and call it fixed. That's the easy way out, and I think a lot of wealthy people take that easy way out. I decided I needed to face this head on. Publicly. Honestly. I contacted my assistant. Told her the truth. Told her what I'd seen. And I told her to set up a company-wide meeting, every branch, every department, live-streamed if it had to be, for the following week. I spent that week still working the floor, watching, learning. I watched Rosa help a scared new hire understand the safety procedures without being asked. I watched her cover another employee's shift when his kid got sick, without complaining, without asking for credit. I also watched Amelia. And here's something important. I watched her stand up for a coworker who was being unfairly blamed for a mistake that wasn't her fault. She wasn't all bad. She wasn't broken. She was good deep down. She just hadn't been tested yet. Not really. The day of the meeting came. I walked into the largest conference hall at headquarters, still in my worn jacket, still unshaven, and you should have seen the confusion on people's faces. Security almost stopped me at the door. Can you imagine? Nearly getting thrown out of a building with my own name on it. I walked up to the podium. Silence. Pure silence. Hundreds of employees, confused, some annoyed that a stranger had interrupted their mandatory meeting. And then I spoke. I told them who I was. The room went from confusion, to shock, to something I can only describe as fear. People started remembering things they'd said, things they'd done. I watched faces change in real time. That manager who called me homeless looking? He turned white as a sheet. I told them everything. About my childhood. About sleeping in my car. About why I did this test in the first place. I told them I wasn't looking for perfection. Nobody's perfect. And I've made my own share of mistakes as a boss, believe me. But I told them I was looking for humanity. Basic human decency. The kind of decency that shouldn't depend on whether someone looks powerful or poor. Then I called Rosa up to the front. I told everyone what she did for me. How she shared her lunch with a stranger who looked broken down, expecting absolutely nothing in return. I promoted her on the spot. Not as a publicity stunt, though I know it might look that way on camera, but because she represented exactly the kind of leadership I wanted running my company. I also set up a permanent fund, using her name, to help employees going through hard financial times. It's still running today. As for that manager, I won't lie to you, I was angry. Really angry. But firing him on the spot, in front of everyone, wouldn't have taught anyone anything except fear. So instead, I sat down with him privately. I told him what I witnessed. I gave him a choice: real accountability, actual changes in how he treated people, or he could leave with severance and no hard feelings. He chose to stay and change. And to his credit, over the past year, I've seen real effort in him. People deserve chances to grow. Even the ones who disappointed us. And Amelia. I found her afterward, in the hallway, tears in her eyes, absolutely stunned. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. She kept saying, "I'm sorry, Dad, I'm so sorry, I didn't recognize you, I should have helped you, I should have said something." And I told her gently, "You don't need to apologize for not recognizing your father in a disguise. But I want you to remember this feeling right now. Because somewhere out there, every single day, there are people who need someone to simply notice them. To treat them like they matter. Even when there's nothing to gain from it." She's different now. Genuinely different. She started a mentorship program at the company for young employees, and she checks in with people, really checks in, not just the polite corporate version. I see Rosa's influence in her now. And honestly, I see a little bit of myself too. The version of myself before money changed how people treated me. You know, I used to think success meant the size of your bank account. The number of zeros. The height of the building with your name on it. I don't believe that anymore. That whole experience, that fake job, those blistered hands, that lonely rented room, it taught me something I couldn't have learned any other way. It taught me that money reveals character. Not creates it. Reveals it. Some people, when they think no one important is watching, they become cruel, cold, dismissive. And some people, like Rosa, stay exactly the same, kind, generous, human, whether they're talking to a billionaire or a stranger on the floor of a warehouse. I think about that lesson every single day now. Before I judge anyone, an employee, a stranger, even my own family, I ask myself, would I treat this person the same way if I didn't know who they were? If there was nothing in it for me? It's a hard question. It's uncomfortable. But it's changed how I run my company. How I raised, or maybe finished raising, my daughter. How I see the world. So here's what I want to leave you with. You don't have to be a billionaire to test the people around you. You don't need a disguise or a fake job. Just pay attention. Watch how people treat the ones who can't do anything for them. The waiter, the cashier, the new employee, the person struggling on the street. That tells you everything about who they really are. And more than that, ask yourself the same question. Are you kind when no one's watching? Are you kind when there's nothing to gain? If this story moved you even a little, I want you to do something for me. Drop a comment below and tell me, has someone ever shown you unexpected kindness when you were struggling? I read every single one, and honestly, those stories keep me grounded. And if you want more real stories like this one, raw, honest, no fluff, hit subscribe. There's more coming. Because I think, in a world obsessed with status and money, we need more reminders of what actually matters. Take care of each other out there. I'll see you in the next one.